radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oh, man, yeah. Fired up. Fade to Black. The spoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, November 9th. 314 days into the new year. Just 52 days left. We are live right now. Well, there you have it. In case you haven't heard the news, can't get the paper, the net, TV, or shoes on your feet, Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. It's Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Yeah, man. Tonight, Jim Mars is here. Yeah. Yeah. Got to do it. We've got to do an election wrap-up. See what we can expect for the next 4 years. And who thought that we would be talking about Trump tonight, right? You know, seriously. I thought I was going to have to bring Mars in here and go crazy. That would be a crazy enough show, right? Hillary for the next 4 years. Holy crap. Can you imagine Mars in here doing that for a couple of hours? But no, tonight it's going to be Trump. Right? Who would have thunk? Tomorrow night is another Fader Night with John Rappaport. I'll let all of you call in and vent or praise, or just talk, or, if your mood is still of the suicidal kind, it's all right. It's all right. More on that in just a second. Let me turn off my phone here. I can't believe I left it on. Okay. All right. Wow, that's weird. You can hear the cell phone in the system in the bunker. It's on. That's interesting. That's interesting. I had it sitting on a piece of gear and I could hear it in the system. Weird. Okay, I just moved it. All right, so yeah, Jim Mars, tomorrow night, Fader Night with John Rappaport, his No More Fake Newsroom. Open lines all night long tomorrow night. Yes, I'll be the doctor tomorrow. You can come in, lay on the couch. I'll take notes and give you a diagnosis and tell you what to do. 323-825-5045. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Jimmy Church Radio, Fade to Black. You know what to do. Just go click on those three buttons over on the website. You can also email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I have never gotten so much email in my life. And we have done some crazy, nutty shows, and we've had a lot of fun here and craziness. And it's a busy day here reading all of the email and stuff. But, whoa. Well, yeah, use your imagination. I got all of it last night and today. It hasn't stopped. Jump into the sandbox tonight, everybody. If you haven't, hashtag F2B is where you want to go. I love you guys. I love all of you. Twitter is literally just blinking to my left. And any questions or comments during the show tonight, hashtag F2BQ. It's that simple. All right, let's get all of our sponsors out of the way. Life Change Tea. Right now, just go right now. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com for Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. Just mention Jimmy when you order. That's all you got to do, either over the phone or online, and you will get free shipping because you are a Fadernaut. Go to the specials page, get it ordered. You know what I do? I do the drops. Well, I've been doing the drops now for a couple of months. And I do the moringa, I do the olive leaf, I do the vitamin C, I do the colostrum, and I do the Ali C. That is my daily regimen, and I feel great. Go now. Also, River Moon Coffee. Just delivered, by the way, to the bunker. I would like to thank my niece, Christine, for bringing over and delivering are you ready? A Nutella and Oreo pie. Nutella and Oreo pie. That combined with River Moon Coffee Fade to Black blend, you know what's going on right now. I'm in a great mood. Just go over to River Moon Coffee right now. The banner is on our site. Use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order. The reviews are in. I see all the pictures and stuff. You guys love this coffee just as much as I do. It is an amazing coffee. I will say this now. I'll guarantee it's the best coffee you've ever drank. I know. I've drank everything. I know coffee. This is the best coffee ever. Fade to Black blend, River Moon Coffee. 50% off F2B blend is the promo code. Do it now. Also, the Studio Dome Fadernaut special, hard shell case packed with a portable stereo Bluetooth sound system in a hard shell case, TWS true wireless stereo technology, 2 SBB2 speakers, $129. Go and do it now. Click on the banner, JCRTWS, 60% off the normal price of $399. And you still get free shipping. With that, let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to, today, the one and only, the Hulk, Lou Ferrigno, 65 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is Hedy Lamarr, 1913 to 2000. Died at the age of 86. Yes, Hollywood beauty. Truly a beautiful woman who appeared in Ecstasy in 1933, Samson and Delilah in 1949. She also appeared in Boomtown and Comrade X with Clark Gable. And yes, she was stunning. She was. Just ask Rita. But that's not the real story. She co-invented techniques for wireless communication that were used for radio-controlled torpedoes, developing a radio guidance system which used spread, spectrum, and frequency hopping, that technology to defeat the threat of jamming by anyone, anywhere. And then she was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2014. Why? Listen to me. The principles of her work are now incorporated into your life every single day, into modern Wi-Fi, CDMA, and Bluetooth technology. That's right. Hedy Lamarr. Seriously, happy birthday. All right. On this day in history, 1989, East Germany opens the Berlin Wall. On this day, allowing travel from East to West Berlin. The next day, celebrating Germans tore that wall down. Fader fact, in 2010, the Iranian government, listen to this, this is vetted, this is real, this is a Fader fact. In 2010, the Iranian government banned certain decadent Western hairstyles, including ponytails, mullets, and elaborate spikes. But they were a little late, weren't they? Because the U.S. banned mullets in 1986, and you can still go to prison for them today. All right. How you doing? How you feeling today? Today. How are you? You know, I think that we can all agree somehow today that last night was a pure and true moment of American history. The real deal. Just like that Berlin Wall. Yesterday was real history. And it all played out live for 4 hours right here on Fade to Black. I want to thank Mike Barra and Andy Bishago for coming in and hanging out and getting us through that last night. But for 4 hours, history played out on this show. And after that, we, Rita and I, we went to In-N-Out Burger. I got a triple and animal fries and a chocolate shake. I needed it. I was toasted. Both sides, man. I was toasted last night. But when we got home, we did the obvious. We turned on CNN. Was it a mistake? Nope. Not last night. It wasn't a mistake. CNN paid off in spades. I got to see Van cry. That right there. That was amazing. That was amazing. Cried like a little girl. Now, got to see them finally call Pennsylvania for Trump. That was incredible because they had to. They had to call the election last night before, Wolf, I heard Wolf say, hey, she called Trump. They conceded, right? It was kind of a weird setup to see happen on CNN, that CNN had to have the last word before all of this started to break down. And that was even more amazing to me. Seriously, it was. Then, still stunned last night, just like all of us, stunned, completely stunned, we packed it in. We went to bed. And it was a surreal night of dreams. It was a surreal night. I remember standing in the bedroom with Rita, and I turned to her, and she's smiling, and she says, you know, I feel great. And I said, you know, so do I. It was like this relief, this burden, you know, had been lifted. It was a strange thing because it was something that happened that was unbelievable to all of us. None of us expected that. And, I don't think even the Trump supporters don't like Trump, but that's another story. And so it just didn't seem like it was a possibility. More on that in just a second. But the mood was good. Maybe it was the triple and the animal fries, but it was a surreal night of dreams. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. I pounded the sleep. I was tired. I was exhausted. And in my dreams, the 4 horsemen came. All right? And they didn't stay. They left. Probably because the nightmare was over, right? The darkness that prevailed over the campaign was finished. But the 4 horsemen came. So would the world end? What's going to happen, today? Well, then something very strange happened. And when I woke up this morning, the sun was up. We were still here. And our country, the planet, still here. Wow. And then I turned to Rita, looked at her, and I said, did that really happen last night? And I picked up my phone, I checked the net, and yes, there it was. President Trump. Well, we must all get used to it now. Ain't anything going to change anytime soon. It's now reality, for real, the real deal. But honestly, that is not the real story here. It is not. The media, the analyst, the observers, and the journalist will talk about this so-called upset for a long time to come. Get used to that as well. But the real story is that every single mainstream, except Fox, every single mainstream media outlet, the news channels, the late night talk shows, the comedians, the daytime talk shows, every newspaper in America except one, the total force of the known world came down on you, told you how bad Trump was. And this total beatdown of the American conscience went on for the entire year, and it was brutal, to the point where we were all left face down on the mat, crying, trying to tap out, trying to get our hand out there to do the little ding, 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 trying to tap out. But they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us tap out. It was relentless, and they just kept it up to the bitter end last night. And, well, obviously, it didn't work, did it? Now, to be very clear here, everyone, I am not pro-Trump. I am not pro-Hillary. I have stated that over and over again. I just can't endorse either. I cannot, couldn't, wouldn't, didn't. On one side, we have a guy who is way too loose with his mouth and let his real self show. And it was and is disgusting. And then we have Hillary, who represents everything that is wrong with politics and the world today. Two very, very bad choices left for us. But in a strange way, we have brought this upon ourselves. We all saw this coming. I warned you over the last year. But most important, we asked for it. Never forget that. That is the beauty of being an American and our system and our cycle. That's it. But with the full force onslaught of the media, Hollywood, and the establishment firmly behind Hillary, they thought they had this thing won. And today, they are in shock. They did their absolute best. There's no question about it. They brought their A game. They brought it on all fronts, unrelenting for a full year. Now, today, in the now, what does that show the man? The powers that try to corrupt the mind, the elite who think that controlling the TV, the internet, the media, the news, the talking heads, and the radio, that they can dictate the world agenda, and most of all, you. Think about it. Well, it's them that lost. It's they that lost, not Hillary. You won. Think about every single word that is coming out of my mouth right now. I am not saying at all that Trump was the right or wrong choice. Only history can be the judge on that. For now, we have to let things play out. We have to. And we have to keep ourselves in check. After the last year, we all need to take a deep breath and enjoy the relief from the negative that has been rained down upon us. How, I ask you, how could every single poll put out in this country by countless of polling companies and individuals and professionals, and every network has got their own polling system, how could every single one be wrong? How? I have never trusted polls, ever. But even if I took a poll myself, if I walked out to the man on the street right now and took a poll, a sex poll, right? Every man and woman is going to lie. For the man, the number's going to be really high. For the woman, the number's going to be really low. That's the way it is, man. I wouldn't trust that poll. And I took it myself. I did the poll. I wouldn't trust it. You just can't. First off, people lie. They lie. They lie. And it doesn't matter what the poll is about. You're not going to tell the truth. Why should you? Why even care? Right? Second, after the media bashing of Trump on all fronts for a year, who would answer a poll question about him and tell the truth? I wouldn't. I can't even say his name in public. I say his name in the bunker because I'm alone and I've got locked doors and I've got security outside, so I can do it. Security walked me to my car after the show, but I don't say his name in public. I don't say Hillary's name either. I can't. It's embarrassing, but never again will I trust a poll about anything. Anything. But the media took it upon themselves. The media just jammed all of the polls, all of their data, all of their proof, the video, the audio, the negative commentary, every single day. The comedians every day, every show, daytime talk show, nighttime news, media, polls, things, web, everywhere down our throats. And it didn't work. The constant 24-hour nasty, dark vitriol did not put their Hillary in office. Think about it. It was truly, absolutely amazing. So, where do we go from here? Today, what do we do? What do we do? That part is the simple answer. What we do is what we do as Americans. It's what we do. We will make the best of it, and you have to. We have to deal with it. It's what we do, and be proud. Love and take care of our kids. That's what you do. You take care of your family. You provide for them. You kiss and make up with your neighbor. You know, the guy who you just unfriended on Facebook because of this mess. That guy or girl. You need to come out of the fog. Life moves on. It's time to get back to reality. You had a life before this mess. You've got a life after it. There are things to do. Get busy. That's what we do. That's what we do as Americans. Seriously, put this mess behind us. I feel relief. The question has been answered. The mudslinging is over. The media bombardment is done. And now you know right now that the media is full of crap. I say it every single day on this show. I tell you not to do it. I tell you not. And look, After all of that, you can't deal with it. Deal with it. The words that I speak today have never been more true. You cannot trust the man. You cannot trust the system. Believe in yourself. Believe in your family. That's what you do. Friends, family, and vodka. The people have spoken. The election is over. This has been coming for a very long time. The country is so tired, exhausted beyond words, and it's time for Washington and the elite to realize that changes need to be made now. And remember, my friends, the sun came up today. It'll come up tomorrow. And in the meantime, put this thought on your frontal lobes. Yesterday, Trump didn't win. The man lost. You are welcome. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Coming right up, the one and only Jim Mars. Follow me on Twitter, @JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. It's Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Combat, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight is Jim Mars, the one and only. He's here for an election wrap-up and what we can expect over the next 4 years. Tomorrow night is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. It'll be open lines all night long. I'll be your psychiatrist. You can lay on the couch. I'll take notes. Maybe I'll prescribe drugs. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. But tonight, it's all about Jim. Jim Mars is a native of Fort Worth, Texas. He has a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from the University of North Texas and attended graduate school at Texas Tech. He has worked for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram and has served as the police and general assignments reporter. He then served with the 4th Army Intelligence Unit during the Vietnam War, and upon his return, became a military aerospace writer and investigative reporter back for the newspaper. Since 1980, Mars has been a freelance writer, author, and public relations consultant. He has appeared on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, C-SPAN, Discovery, Learning, History Channels, This Morning America, Geraldo, Montel Williams, Today, Tech TV, and Larry King all in one breath. He is the author of many books, including some of my favorites, Alien Agenda, Rule by Secrecy, The War on Freedom, and The Rise of the Fourth Reich, Above Top Secret, and his current release is Population Control. Tonight, he's going to join us for a full election wrap-up, only as Mars can do it. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black the one and only Jim Mars. Good evening, sir.
Well, that's easy for you to say.
Yeah. Tonight.
Actually, listen, next time if you're going to introduce me, just mention the radio and TV shows I've not been on.
Yeah,
it'll be shorter.
You know what, Jim? It took me today. I decided this is what I did. I edited the bio that I've written you and I, over the years, and I condensed it. Dude, it took me 30 minutes, man, to break this thing down to where it was today. And just to get it under 2 minutes, okay? So I'm doing my best.
That's what happens when you live a long time.
Let
me tell you my election experience, okay?
Yeah,
like so many others, I stayed up last night late, hoping we'd finally get to a finish, and it got to be like 2 a.m. here at my house, and the Democrats. After exhortations from Podesta, they all were filing out and going home. He said, go home and get some sleep, and the Republicans are all hanging around, and everybody, even Fox was saying, well, it's too close to call. So I went to bed, okay? Now, my wife goes to bed earlier than me almost all the time, and she did last night. Well, I get up this morning, she's already up. So I go in, and she said, well, I guess you heard the news. And I'm going, yeah, Trump got. She said, Hillary Clinton won.
Oh, she didn't.
And I said, what? I said, you got to be kidding, man. He had all the Trump cards, so to speak, last night. I mean, look for him. She went, April Fools. I could have strangled her.
Well,
but that shows, though, how close, all that was. And I heard you earlier, Jimmy, and you're absolutely right. This was not necessarily a victory for Donald Trump. This was a revolt of mainstream America that is tired of the left-leaning socialist give away open borders, trash our country, dissolve our sovereignty, hate America, you know, and eviscerate our military. All the stuff that's been going on for at least 8 years, probably more than that. It actually goes back to the Bush years. And let's not get confused. Let's not say, well, it was all the Republicans' fault, or, oh, it's all the Democrats' fault. Folks, they're one and the same. They're two sides of the same coin. And this election, if nothing else, should prove to the dullest among us that the media has, under the control of 5 multinational corporations, are all owned by the same people. They have interlocking boards of directors, interlocking ownership. The media, the pollsters, they're bought and paid for. You cannot trust any of the so-called establishment. That establishment has been built ever since the coup of 1963. And they've been slowly getting a stranglehold on this country in Congress, in the Supreme Court, in the executive branch, okay? And people are finally waking up, and they're realizing this. And I doubt there was too many people who, deep in their heart, truly wanted to vote for Donald Trump, because he certainly has his foibles. But by golly, they were ready to turn their back on the establishment. In fact, you know, Trump himself said that in his one of his last speeches in Florida. He said, and this is his quote, and it's so true, and I think it began to resonate with a lot of people in this country. He said, our campaign is an existential threat to the establishment. And baby, that was it. And people reacted. The people reacted. Obviously, the pundits weren't on board. The pollsters weren't on board. The political operatives weren't on board. The lobbyists weren't on board. I mean, he had everything stacked against him except the public, the vast majority of people. And by the way, voter fraud, he said it's rigged. And it was. It has been for years. You know, I won't even go into all the details, but between hacking, between gerrymandering districts, between pulling huge machines together to go pick up street people and anybody else and have them vote, you know, I almost every election over the past 20, 30 years has been rigged. And this one was rigged, okay? But they couldn't rig it enough to turn back the wishes of the vast majority of mainstream middle America. Now, if you want to see how it really works, Jimmy, picture this. 3 outlines of the United States with the states, okay? The top one, you got your red states, all through the South, all through the Midwest, all the way over to California. But now, California, Oregon, Washington State, they're blue, okay? Then you got, in this one, interestingly enough, New Mexico, Colorado, they're blue. Then you get up to Illinois, it's blue. And then you get to Michigan, blue. And then you get Pennsylvania, blue. And then you get New York, blue. And then you get some of those upper northeastern states, blue. All right? Now, go to the second map, and it looks identical, okay? But the top map with the blue and red states are the ones that went Democratic blue and went Republican red. Now, the second map looks identical, and these blue states are the states that do not require a photo ID to vote. All the red states, certainly here in Texas, I had to give my driver's license before I could vote, so they know I'm a legal citizen. The third picture, okay, of the red and blue states looks identical to the other two, and these are the states that have the most people on welfare. So there you go. What's happened is that the rest of America, the 53, 54%, have simply gotten tired of supporting the minority.
Do you think I want to address a couple of important issues here, and since we're on this section, let me stay right here. Obviously, the polls were dead wrong, right? Every except for the LA Times, and you and I talked about that earlier today. But and they're being forced into silence too as well on this. But
you have to ask yourself who owns those poll polling companies.
Or more important,
and what's their methodology?
Right.
Who are they targeting?
Right.
What questions are they asking?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because
you know,
obviously,
if I did a poll of you and all your friends, and my question was, have you stopped beating your wife? You know.
Right.
Any way you go, it's going to come out looking bad for you.
Right. And so the point is, obviously, they were polling the demographics that weren't fair and honest and biased, right? That's not what they did. They didn't take a sample of everybody. They didn't do that.
No.
And
I think most of them went and picked 300 or 400 or 500 people from the Democratic voting list from the roster.
Right. You know, and my other part.
That's not a valid poll.
No,
In fact, you know, in college, I took a course on statistics and polling, and I learned all the way back in the '60s that you can't trust them. You can't trust even an honest one because there's too many variables. You don't know who you're reaching. Well, like if they say we called 1,000 people. Okay, well, number one, you've only talked to people who own a telephone or who'll answer a telephone or who'll answer the poll. So already it's skewed.
And who's going to tell the truth? I wouldn't. I don't care if the poll is about chocolate ice cream, Jim. I'm going to lie about it. Right? It's the truth.
Right.
It's really the truth. And now, right now, after all of this, after the bombardment of the polls and the data for this last year, I think all of us can step back and realize that it's all BS. And it's done.
Absolutely.
It's done to change.
Absolutely.
It's done to change your mind. It's done
That's right.
to
It's
manipulate
propaganda.
you. Yes.
And that's another thing. I am ashamed to call myself a journalist these days because there is no journalism. All you have to do, I tell you what was really a hoot to me was all through the early evening, most of the evening, I had the TV in my office on, but I had the sound off, okay? And I had it tuned to MSNBC. All right, all I want to do is look up and see what the numbers are doing, and I could hardly do that because they were always talking to Hillary people, and they were always showing Hillary's picture, and they were always cutting over to the Hillary victory headquarters. Well, that's all I saw, you know, and if that wasn't just propaganda, I don't know what is. Okay, but what was great was as the night wore on, as the numbers came in, as it began to turn towards Trump, you should have seen Rachel Maddow and Wolf and all these pundits. Boy, their faces are scowling. They're not smiling. They're acting, very uncomfortable. And I loved it. I love to see them squirm because they're not journalists. They are just propagandists for the corporate advertising distribution systems.
And so, what does this say to the man? What does this say to the powers, the elite, that the people have spoken here, and they went against their best? They planned this. It was so well orchestrated, and it didn't work.
Right.
Now the people have spoken. What does this say to the man?
Well, this now it gets dangerous because if you think the New World Order is just going to go, well, gee, I guess we lost, and fold up their table and go home, you're wrong. They're going to continue to go on. Things are going to get worse. Watch this. Several things could happen, and God forbid, but I'm just saying what I see is, okay, Trump is kind of a wild card. They're not really sure what they can do with him, but it remains to be seen. Don't listen to anything he says from now on. Just watch what he does. Watch what his actions are.
Right,
okay?
right.
Just like all the rest of them. Okay, and if he turns out to be not really totally in their control, then we better make sure that he gets some extra guards because all they got to do is something happens to Trump. We got Pence, who is a consummate New World Order stooge. That was one of the worst mistakes he ever made. I wish he had picked Ben Carson to be his running mate. That would have been a great one. Okay, but no, he gets Pence, who undercut him several times during the campaign, and obviously is a globalist, the New World Order guy. Okay. Now, if that doesn't work, and if Trump stays in office, well, then they're going to pull the plug on the economy, which is stripping gears anyway, and they'll blame it on Trump, just like they did when they put Herbert Hoover into office as a Republican, knowing that the market was about to crash and we were about to go into a depression, and they blamed it on him, and that put Franklin Roosevelt in, with plenty to spare, and he began that march towards socialism.
After this massive campaign that by the media and daytime, nighttime talk shows, there was only one paper in America that backed Trump. That's a crazy and you start to go and you look at all of this, everything's stacked against him. He certainly.
Hey, Jimmy, that's because every paper in this country, there used to be a whole slew of papers in this country expressing all kinds of different viewpoints and editorial stances. Today, every single major newspaper in this country is owned by one of these 5 major corporations, okay? And that's why they all speak with one voice. Now, here, listen to this, and listen to this close, because I'm telling you, I've been writing about the globalism, about the New World Order, about a clique of ultra-uber-rich people who are trying to run this entire planet for years now, okay, going back to my book Crossfire, going to Rise of the Fourth Reich, going to the $1 trillion conspiracy, going to, yes, population control, okay, and I'm just the conspiracy theorist. But if nothing else, this campaign should prove beyond any reasonable doubt to even the dullest of us that there is centralized control over our media, over our banking system, over our government. They've infiltrated the government. The globalists, I guess for a better thing, they call themselves globalists, so we'll just call them globalists. They don't care about the United States. They don't care about our sovereignty. They don't care about our borders. They want everything wide open so that they can just spread people all over the world, start problems anywhere so they can sell more arms, so they can loan more money. Okay? It's a conspiracy, folks, and this should prove it to you.
It does. It does.
Does it prove it to you, Jimmy?
Man, I am so shocked. Rita and I were talking earlier about all of this. And look, I want everybody, I need to be very clear here. I'm not pro-Trump and I'm not pro-Hillary. I am not. I'm upset with both. So just let me say that. But I'm also an observer of society. And Rita and I were talking today that I don't remember maybe a couple of times. And when I say a couple, Jim, I mean like twice in the past year did I see a Trump ad run on television here in Southern California. Twice. I don't watch much television, but I can tell you this. I saw Hillary ads relentless. Right? Relentless.
Well, after all, she's got Clinton Foundation money to fall back on, and that outfit has been extorting every rich nation in the world.
Well, what it tells me,
including Wall Street, where she was getting $500,000 just to go and make a talk, and what slipped out was that she's telling Wall Street, "Don't worry, boys, I'll take care of you, but I may have to say some stuff against you during the campaign."
Well, I don't know, Jim. 500,000. I think my morals drop a little bit there. I think
mine might too, but I never get offered anywhere close to that.
500,000.
People want me to travel all the way to California, spend a few days, make a talk, come back for $300.
Man, 500,000, Jim. I bet you I could get you to sing Yankee Doodle Dandy in Times Square at midnight. Okay, so let's not 500,000. But anyway, what that tells me, with the relentless amount of Hillary campaign ads versus nothing from the Trump side, that the people weren't paying.
Really decent Trump ads on TV until within 2 weeks of the
something like that
election.
So I guess people weren't paying attention, that it didn't matter, that his campaign was based on reality. And the polls and the media and everything else just chose to ignore that, and I have no idea who they were listening to, but they weren't talking to
they
the
were
people that were
listening to
voting.
Their owners, their globalist owners, who said we're going to put Hillary in because she's on our side. And when I say that, listen, I'm not. This is not. I'm like you. I'm an agnostic. I'm not necessarily for Trump. I'm not necessarily for Hillary, except I know Trump is a question mark. From what I could tell, looking extremely closely at all the criticism against Trump, okay, he's boorish, he puts his foot in his mouth, he says things, and right off the top of his head. But then, number one, he's not a politician. He hasn't spent years being schooled and conditioned in how to smile and lie at the same time, and how to promise everything and do nothing, and how to act in front of the crowd, how to read the teleprompter, how to finagle and get the questions to the debates before the debate like Hillary did. You see, he didn't have all that advantage, okay? But I really looked at the criticism, and it's absurd. The only thing they had against Trump was years-old claims and accusations and innuendo. I guess the worst one was, and I'm still seeing this, is that they went to that tape that was made 11 years ago in a bus full of guys, some production bus, and they were just, BSing. They were just having, as he said, locker room talk. The worst thing I heard, actually, was he starts off and they were talking about some woman, and he said, yeah, I made a move on her. Said, but I failed. Said, so I ended up taking her shopping for furniture. Boy, now there's a woman hater, isn't it?
Yeah,
he tries to move on some gal and ends up taking her shopping, okay? And then later, of course, came the bombshell because, he and all these guys, and it was just a discussion. It was like, boy, it must be great to be rich and famous. And Trump says, yeah, you get to kiss all the women and maybe even grab their pussy cat, except he left out the cat part.
Right.
And think about that. He didn't say he did it. He didn't say he wanted to do it. He didn't say that was okay. That was a discussion about being rich and famous and the perks, okay? And yet, to this very day, just yesterday, I read a national news magazine where they said Donald Trump, who gropes women, that is not journalism. That is not even the truth. That is propaganda, and yet that kind of crap went on the entire campaign. And so here on the one hand, we got Trump, who admittedly puts his foot in his mouth a few times, and but he's never been actually nailed for any real wrongdoing, except for beauty queens who come forward 30 years later and say, gee, walked through while we were dressing. Well, gee, he was the manager. He was in charge of that beauty pageant. Of course he'd go through there. He could go anywhere he wanted to. And at the time, nobody said anything about it. Nobody filed sexual harassment charges or anything else. And then you got other women that says, yeah, he touched me. He touched me. What? Or he said, hey, you want to go up to my room? Or something like that. Okay, that's boorish. That's probably not really the way to act. But he didn't do anything. Now, let's look at the other side. On the other side, we had 3 women there at one of the debates who earlier had pointed to Bill Clinton and said, that man raped me, bloodily raped me, bloodied my lip, and raped me, and his wife, Hillary, threatened us if we tried to say anything. Now, does that even equate with what they said Trump was doing? I just don't get it. How can people be that ignorant? Don't they see the difference between actual rape and somebody who's just makes some off-color remarks?
Well, you know what all of that says to me, Jim, is that the media chose to, and the candidates fed into this too as well, but chose to make those the issues instead of the issues, right?
Right. Instead of focusing on Hillary's criminal activity. Nobody even remembers that back in the 90s when the Clintons left the White House, there was a little bit of a stink because they took paintings and furniture. They took stuff out of the They stole stuff out of the White House. And that got to be public notice, and they had to give everything back. But they're thieves, okay? Number one, they're thieves, and that's not just political rhetoric. They're thieves, all right? She's a serial liar, remember her talking about, oh, she landed in Bosnia under sniper fire. Well, I've seen the news reels. She landed. There's a crowd to meet her. There's little bitty kids coming up to her. She's smiling, and she's a liar. So she's a liar. She's a thief. And she's, Comey last summer said, yeah, she's guilty of 47 crimes. But, well, she didn't really mean to, so we're going to let her go. Now, hey, folks, everybody listening, next time you're stopped by the cop and he said you're going 10 miles over the speed limit, I'm going to give you a ticket. You say, well, gee, officer, yeah, I suppose I was, but I certainly didn't mean to, and just see how quick he lets you go.
Right. Well, I don't know if you know this, but last year when I came over to your bungalow out in the desert, were you missing a hat after I left? One of your fedoras? I have it here in the studio. I took it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I
wonder where that went. A little sneaky.
Yeah, I've got a whole drawer full of White House silverware. So, but
that was my favorite fedora.
It to me, the one, if anything has been more glaring, and I've been yelling about this on a soapbox now for so long about the media, and you just can't anymore. You just can't believe what you hear. You just cannot do it.
No, you can't. No, listen to Jimmy Church.
Oh man, and
especially when I'm on there with him, because then you'll hear the truth.
This guy just tweeted out, "Lose yourself in it." Just tweeted, "I can't believe you think we want to hear more about the election. Nothing new being said. Tuning out." Yeah, sorry. You got to go.
Yeah, there you go. Don't look ahead.
Yeah, don't look ahead. Yeah.
Don't wonder what's going to go on. Don't wonder if he's going to be able to pack the Supreme Court. Don't wonder if the economy is going to collapse or the bankers will collapse it to make him look bad.
Right.
And so we blame it on him.
He's
don't
over
look for a possible assassination attempt so they get Pence in there in case they can't control.
Easy now, Jim. Easy now, Jim.
Trump.
Easy.
Yeah, no, let's don't think about all that. Let's just go have a beer and forget about it.
We'll let this guy tune out and go over to CNN. They're calling you.
Yeah, there you go. And then he can just sit there, prop back, and let all that propaganda soak over him, and he'll be fine.
Watch Van Jones go cry. He's probably, sorry. Feels bad for Van. This is Fade to Black. Our host. I'm calling you a host tonight. Our guest tonight.
I'll take it.
Jim Mars. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's Angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at Angioprim.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hard shell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm in a great mood. Great mood. This year is over. It is behind us. I'm in a great mood. But not quite yet, because tonight we're talking the conspiracy of everything with Jim Mars in this last year. Hey, Jim, you know what the good news is? Pot is now legal in California, so you can knock off the dust that you have on that bong in your closet from college and come on out to California, man.
You know,
the Republic of
I
California.
do have a bong, but I've never used it. And it was given to me years ago by my daughter. And I guess she expected me to use it, but it's cool because it's a flying saucer with a little alien in it, you know, and the little pipe or whatever that glass thing is sticking up. You know, it's a neat-looking bong. That's why I kept it, but I've never used it.
Hey, man, bring that thing out to Conscious Life or to
Contact
in the desert, and we'll break that sucker in properly. Okay, so now let's talk about some other things here that are very important. Do you think? Let's get to the conspiracy of things. Do you think Barack is going to pardon Hillary?
That's a good question, boy. I tell you what, though, if he tries to, there's going to be an uprising. I mean, we have so many things to thank Barack Obama for. Okay, he's let the BLM run wild, grab ranchers' land, take the Indian sacred land, kill, murder Lavoy Finnegan, whose name has already been forgotten, even though he was lured out by the FBI and was shot by special ops in trees in nothing more than a murderous ambush. A good American citizen with a large family, a churchgoer, a good Christian, and a good rancher, and a good man, and he was unarmed. He got out of his truck, raised his hands, and they shot him down. And you don't ever hear about this stuff. Race relations, okay? To the best of my knowledge, race relations 10 years ago, before Barack Obama, were actually a whole lot better than they are now. What's with that? We would finally elect a black president, and then race relations just go in the toilet.
Right.
And now we have riots, and we have the thugs in the inner cities after wanting to kill cops, you know, and have shootouts. It's what? Is this country better off after 8 years of Obama? And I say no. So, hey, it's going to be interesting. We're kind of here at the precipice, looking into the abyss, okay? We don't know really what's going to go on, but I guarantee you the New World Order, the globalists, they're not going to give up without a fight, and they control much of the world, as you can see, for example, in Germany, where the vast majority of Germans, they don't want all these unvetted illegal immigrants pouring into their country, committing rapes and robberies and all kinds of crimes. And the key thing there is that where's their families? All the pictures I've seen, all the accounts I've seen, these are young military-age men that are all piling in. Is this truly refugees, or is this a silent invasion? And if life's so terrible behind in their podunk countries that they have to flee, why do they leave their families there?
Well, what do you think is going to happen? She's been a pretty good spokesperson for the cabal and the Illuminati and the New World Order and the shadow government.
Exactly.
I mean,
and like I said, see, this goes all the way back. This goes back to 1992 when Hillary Clinton attended one of these secretive, well-guarded Bilderberg meetings.
Right.
And now she didn't just attend; she was at the door greeting everyone as they came in, which, by the way, is a time-honored method of theirs for introducing their proteges to the membership. So she's been locked in with them for a long, long time.
So can they allow her to be prosecuted and to be investigated and to have all of this stuff come out in court? Or
they could.
If she gets pardoned.
The thing is, I think that's why at the very, very last, there's probably some very, very sneaky, devious things they could have done, and they didn't do it because I think basically they threw her under the bus. I think they realized she had too much dirt. There was just too much on her. There was one. I understand. There's one congressman that was already preparing bills of impeachment, whether she got elected or not. Because as Secretary of State, as a top federal official, she can still be prosecuted and she can still be impeached. And so they could see that even if she squeaked in and she won, that it would be so contentious, and there would be suits just one after another. More of her, and by the way, just hide and watch for more of her criminal activity to come forward. The media, who we've already talked about, has obviously been so pro-Hillary all along. They've either soft-soaped it or didn't report on it. But now that Trump's in, maybe we have a turnover in the power structure, then you watch. There will be more and more dirt coming out about both her and Bill, and it's going to be very difficult to keep them out of prison unless Obama steps in. And if he does, you may not remember the hoorah that took place when Gerald Ford stepped in, was appointed as Nixon's vice president, and then pardoned him of all crimes past, present, and future. In other words, if you come up with something later on, he's still pardoned.
Right.
Okay?
Well, what does this do?
There was a huge outcry about that.
There was. But what does this do to the UFO question that her and Podesta were so public about, and Bill, and any possibilities of disclosure that she was talking about?
I think that was all political rhetoric anyway. Number one, let's put some dots together here, Jimmy. First off, it's in all of her 35,000 emails or whatever it was. They said there was some that were talking about special access programs. Now, special access programs, they're even higher than top secret. Okay, these are some of the most top secret stuff we have. So I think Hillary probably knew. She knew a lot. Then we've got the missing 8-point-something-another trillion that they've announced from the Pentagon. Where'd all that money go? And now we have people, whistleblowers. We got Gary McKinnon, who hacked into the Pentagon computers and said, yes, we have a secret space fleet. And he even found the names of the officers and which ships they were commanding and all like that. Okay? So, see, there is something going on, and we're not being told about it. And I know damn well that Hillary and I know that Podesta knew about this. And I think they just dribbled out a little bit about as a sop to the UFO crowd, who probably, this is a generality, but I would say they probably lean more towards the left side of the political spectrum, which means they would be big Hillary supporters, and that would get her more support, okay? But, hey, don't be waiting for disclosure. because I tell you what, this is still the greatest guarded secret we have. And I'll tell you something, Stephen Hawking now has even warned that maybe we should be cautious about putting our names out and the location of Earth out there, because we don't really know who might show up. And he compared that as Columbus, when he came to the New World, thousands of the natives died from disease they brought. And then we know what happened to the rest of the Native Americans, and it wasn't pretty. All right, and he's saying that could happen here to us on Earth. And he wasn't the only one. Way back there, L. Ron Hubbard, in his classic science fiction book, Battlefield Earth, he had these... It was interesting because I think he was ahead of his time. He didn't have aliens coming and just blowing up cities and killing everybody like Independence Day or whatever. It was just business. It was the intergalactic bankers who loaned money to the Intergalactic Mining Corporation so they could come and strip mine the Earth, but they were on a timetable and they fell behind because there were these pesky humans on the Earth, So they had to go to the planet Cyclos. I love it. It's only one letter off from psychos. And got these big, tall, hairy, muscular aliens to come down here and act as a police force or security guards, and then the whole book is how the humans had to band together and how they fought to retake control over the Earth. And that was back in 82, I think, is when I read that book. And it's absolutely incredible that they could see forward and see how this is doing. We're doing the same thing right now in the Middle East and in other countries. We want their raw materials, so we go over there and we start a fight, and then we back one side or perhaps both sides. And then in the middle of the fight, not only are we making money selling arms, but then we send our military people over there to try to deal with it. And then, we get things like Benghazi and the missiles. And it all fits together. But I do think that we don't have to really worry. I wouldn't say we have to immediately worry about some invasion from Earth, because, Jimmy, I think you're well aware, as I am, that when you look at the UFO issue, it goes all the way back through history. It goes back to the Bible with Ezekiel and the fiery wheel that picked him up and carried him around, dropped him off at a city, picked him up, took him somewhere else. This was a flying machine. This was not some pipe train.
Right.
And so if they've been here all along, then why do we think they're going to come and attack us now when we have laser weaponry and space platforms and all this good stuff, as opposed to they could have invaded us centuries ago when all we had to do to fight them would have been swords and spears. So I don't think we have to worry about an immediate alien invasion, but I think what we do have to worry about, and this is another possibility, is they have been conditioning us now for a number of years about the idea that there is life outside the Earth. And we do now have exotic technology that the public is not aware of, such as holographic technology, all kinds of things. I think what we have to guard now is against a false flag alien invasion. And this was actually codified back in the early 60s with the report from Iron Mountain. Henry Kissinger participated in, and they were trying to figure out a alternative for war, because they said war is the central organizing force behind any country. And it's sure enough, in the Constitution, the only two powers specifically granted to the federal government was to coin and regulate money, which they gave up in 1913 and gave it up to the private banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve. And the other one was to provide for the common defense. Okay, so we've got to have war. We've got to have something going on so that they can justify this ever-growing government. And it says right there in this report that if they can't make some foreign enemy work, that we should consider a threat from space. Ronald Reagan already got that ball rolling when he spoke to the UN General Assembly and said, wouldn't it be great if there was a threat from space, and it would, all the nations would have to gather together and work together, to fight off this threat from space. And so I think we have to watch out for that, because they've got, by the way, this is what happened on 9/11. They used exotic technology that the public was not generally aware of, such as mini-directed nukes, such as remote computer takeover of airliners, okay, which now everybody knows about drones. We're flying drones. We're bombing things in Afghanistan, and the guy that's directing is sitting at a console in Arizona somewhere, so we kind of know that, but we didn't know that in 2001, and we didn't know they could capture those airliners and fly them anywhere they wanted to go. We didn't know about thermite, and we didn't know about all the other exotic things that were used, such as voice manipulation. A year before 9/11, they demonstrated this to General Colin Powell, and here's Colin Powell listening to his own voice say, "Yes, I'm here to overthrow the government of the United States." What? I never said that, and he didn't. They had voice morphing. What they do is, and you're real susceptible to this, Jimmy, because you're on the radio, your voice is recorded all over the place. All they got to do is get a sentence or two of your voice, and with voice morphing technology, they can have you say anything they want you to say. So watch out, folks. You might not even be listening to the real Jimmy Church.
Yeah, this isn't me. So now what about Trump's position on UFOs? Over the years, have you heard anything? Trump. Donald
Trump's
Trump.
position.
Trump.
No, I can't think of anything I've seen or heard with his position. And with all the flack he was getting, I'm sure he was smart enough not to try to bring up UFOs. But I'll tell you what, since he seems so anti-establishment, I think if some people with real credentials could get to him, I think he would be open to it. I'm just saying that. I have no way of knowing.
Karen just said she's not even.
Here's the whole thing. I don't think Donald Trump. He's certainly not a liberal. I don't even think he's a conservative. I think Donald Trump is an entrepreneurial pragmatist. Okay, which means he just looks at a problem, says, "Okay, what do we do to correct this?" And he just moves right along with the facts and with what seems to him to be the way of solving the problem. And so, therefore, if that's the case, I think if you went to him, showed him the information that we now have available, and say, let's look into this, let's do something about this, once he has a power base established, we might see some things opening up.
Yeah, I often wonder, because of his pragmatic side that you're referring to, and you would have to be that to a large degree to become a billionaire. You can't. You know.
Well, hey, he builds buildings in New York. If you do that, you got to deal with the mafia. You got to deal with a corrupt political machine. He's not a babe in the woods. I think he knows what he's up against.
Do you think that? Okay, two things. Do you think that he really wanted this? I asked Mike Barra this question last night. Do you think that he really wanted this? And do you think that we can depend on him to get up at 4:30 in the morning every day, work for 20 straight hours, and focus? I mean, this is a serious gig. It's the most serious of serious gigs.
That's true.
Do you think we can actually count on him for this?
Well, we don't know yet. But we know that Obama spent more time on the golf course than he did anywhere else. And from insider accounts, when he wasn't on the golf course, he was in his living quarters in the White House with his feet propped up watching ball games.
Well,
so
Donald Trump.
He can't be any worse than that.
Well, Trump loves his golf. We know that.
Well, that's true. And, so did Dwight Eisenhower.
And so did Clinton.
Hey, once a week, if he goes out and has a game of golf, I think that's good. Good exercise, good for him. Probably necessary, but, hopefully he won't be taking those multi-million-dollar vacations to Hawaii with the millions and millions of taxpayer money that was paying for it. All right, we're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, that's the whole deal. In fact, the key to the whole thing is from now on, since we've already talked the first part of the program, that you can't trust the media, you can't trust the pollsters, you can't trust the experts. Speaking of experts, are you old enough, Jimmy, to remember when there were doctors on television saying, smoke Chesterfields, they're good for you?
Absolutely.
Right. So, see, that's how good the experts are. All right. So now we just have to watch and see what he does and see what he's able to do, what he tries to do. And believe me, there'll be some opposition. And but, you know, here's where I'm thinking he's really got the upper hand. It's called the bully pulpit, right? He can go on TV. He can go on the radio. He can talk to the nation if he wants to. Now, both Obama and Bush, they shied away from that. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to even have press conferences because they're afraid somebody would ask them a hard question. But something tells me Trump may be open to this, and he can use that bully pulpit, and he can be quite effective. You know, most people have already forgotten, but when John Kennedy first took office, the first thing he ran into was a problem with the major steel manufacturers who were wanting to raise their prices. Meanwhile, they were in labor dispute with the steel workers who were wanting better working conditions, higher pay, okay? And so Kennedy kind of stepped in to moderate, and he finally said, okay. He said he got the labor unions to back off with their demands in return for a pledge from the major steel manufacturers that they would not raise their steel prices. And what happened? The major steel manufacturers raised their steel prices. John Kennedy, what control has he got over the steel companies raising their prices? He went on television and he said, this is unconscionable. And he told what had happened and what had gone on, and he said, this should not be. And he said, I have ordered now the federal government is only going to buy steel from the secondary steel companies that have not raised their prices. And it didn't take just a few days before the major steel manufacturers reversed their price increase and dropped them back down where they were. That is use of the bully pulpit, and I could see Trump going on national television on anything. Maybe he doesn't have control over it, okay? Maybe it's, Obamacare. I don't care, anything. He could go on there, explain things, tell it his version, and say, this is not right. We got to put a stop to this. He could raise a groundswell of public opinion. They'd lean on their congresspersons, and things would change. It's going to be real interesting to see what goes on here in the near future.
Well, we still have a couple of months here before January, and there's some loose ends for Donald to straighten out. Number one, he threatened a special prosecutor, right, an investigation on Hillary Clinton. There's that issue. And then that's got to be done. That's got to be done. It's got to be somebody who's clean. It can't be another one of these New York prosecutors or Washington, D.C., inbred type people. They need to have a special prosecutor, and they need to convene a grand jury of a broad cross-section of Americans, okay? Yeah, even Hillary supporters, okay? Well, but
put them on that grand jury and then present the evidence, and if there's evidence there for an indictment, they need to go through with it.
Well, I get that, but what scares me with that kind of rhetoric and threat is that it seems like that's what other countries do, right? Somebody wins an election and then throws their opponent in jail, right? And comes down.
Or puts them up against the wall.
Right.
See, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about convening a grand jury. That is the legal, proper way to do it, okay? If there had been any justice, any level playing field, somebody in New York should have convened a grand jury to look into the death of John Kennedy Jr. Somebody in Dallas should have convened a grand jury of citizens to look at the evidence and see if there was reason to bring indictments against someone in the death of John F. Kennedy. But see, the controllers have control. And they won't even allow a grand jury. In fact, every time there's been some scandal, Watergate on up, what's happened? Yeah, and Kennedy assassination. The executive branch names a special commission, and it's all their old cronies and their buddies and New World Order guys. And that's why we've never had a justice in any of these cases.
Well, to me, and let's go back. Let's go back a couple of decades here. To me, it's not about the emails. It's not about Benghazi. It's not about missile. It's not about any of that. The Clinton Foundation. It's simply not, Jim. We need to go back and for once and for all settle the Vince Foster case. Because
yes, there you go.
Oh, okay.
That would be a good starting point.
Now,
there's plenty of information there. Okay?
It's a cut and dried case, right? But
yes,
but
it's always been up to some special prosecutor or special committee of insiders who say, well, let's just don't get into that, So we'll pass that along. Nothing to see here, folks.
Right.
No, we need to clear up the whole thing. We need to go back to the Kennedy assassination, and because that was the first real overt act. They've been actually, I guess the first overt act was to put the bankers in charge, 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act, and then that was followed quickly by the IRS, which supposedly was only going to collect taxes from the citizens of District of Columbia, and of course now they take it from everybody. They've just slowly been working their plan. But in 1963, they had an early version of Trump. They had a rich man's son who was quite smart, probably the best educated president we've had in the history of this country, and he barely squeaked in. I mean, that was another narrow election. It was like, 49.2 to 49.8 or something like that. He barely got in. And then when he did, he started shaking things up. Okay, Kennedy Tax Act of 1962, closing tax loopholes for the multinational corporations. He had his Secretary of Treasury start tightening up restrictions on the Federal Reserve and passing some of their powers to the state banks. Okay, he issued $4.2 billion in silverback Treasury notes that said U.S. note, didn't say Federal Reserve note. That's interest-free money. Okay, the only other president in the history of the United States that tried to issue interest-free money that came from the Treasury and not from the international bankers, was Abraham Lincoln when he printed greenbacks to support the war between the states. And look, I don't think it's just sheer coincidence that both those presidents got shot in the head.
Yeah. Let's take a break right there on the high note. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, there's something else that I need you to directly address, and that is the first 100 days and the influence of the Fed and the cabal on the direction of those first 100 days. Let's talk about that when we come back. Our guest tonight, Jim Mars. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
Healthforliberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protavite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protavite, for giving my life back.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black, the one, the only Jim Mars. You know, Jim. What's so funny about you and I and having you on this show? I respect you. You're an elder. You've been there and all of that. But I just feel like I'm sitting down with the dude that knows a lot, and I'm the grasshopper. Right, and I just need to just sit and be patient and listen. I may not agree, but that's what happens when you're around, grasshopper and the master. Right, you just need to be patient and get to the end of it because it'll all make sense. Now
the problem is that I've gone so long and I've studied so many things. I guess I call myself the redneck philosopher. Okay, and speaking of philosopher, there's been so many great philosophers through history. Socrates, Plato, Rousseau. Okay, now I ask you, Jimmy, do you know anybody that claims to be a philosopher, or better yet, do you know anybody who's making a living in this country today being a philosopher?
Or a philosopher from Texas. That's even
yeah, well, that's what I say. A redneck philosopher. That's really something.
Yeah.
But no. See, they've turned us into a nation of specialists. Lawyers, some of them are wonderful. They know the law. Doctors, some of them are absolutely marvelous, and they know that in medicine. Okay, but hey, you get them outside of their area of expertise, they don't know squat. That's why there's so many people voting for Hillary. Okay, but not because they're stupid, not because they're they are simply misguided because they only know what they know.
Right.
And what they know is from the mass media, which is under total control, as we have mentioned, okay? So, if you really want to be intelligent and well-read, read everything. Read the opposition. I look at liberal stuff all the time, and I understand them. I really do. And so many of these liberals, they are beautiful, well-meaning, educated people, okay, but they operate from their heart. When they see Muslims that are beheading people over in that country and now want to come over here and try the same thing, all they see is the pictures of the poor little kids that are being damaged and hurt and bombed. Oh, we got to do something about that. Well, okay, and I understand. Go from your heart. But, hey, don't leave your brain behind, okay? Think about what's going on. For example, Hillary would certainly continue the same. She'd be behind those wars in Afghanistan, Iraq. She hadn't done anything to stop that. She voted for them, okay? And that's what gets me. The liberals, they let's stop that. Let's have peace. And yet they want to vote for the war candidate, And Hillary has all but said she wants to go to war with Russia. And yet Trump said, well, I don't have anything against Russia. Surely we can deal with them, So basically he's the anti-war candidate, but they vilify him. They hate him. They didn't want him. It's just nuts, you know, and that's because people they're ignorant. And that doesn't mean they're stupid. It just means they're ignorant. And I don't claim to know everything. There's a whole lot I don't know. But, boy, if I don't know it, I go look it up, and I go read about it, and I find out about it, okay? And I think more people ought to be that way. But I understand that everybody hasn't got time to be researching and reading books and looking at alternative websites, you know, all day long. So, but what gets me is, why don't they listen to the ones that do? That's always bugged me. You know,
and what about?
And I don't ever, you know, Jimmy, you know too. I've said this before on and off air. Don't trust me. Just listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. And go check it out for yourself.
That's it.
Okay?
That's it. That's it. That's all you have to say. That's the bottom line here.
That's the bottom line.
Always.
If I tell you that it was us and the CIA that got people in the Ukraine to act up and say we want to pull away, and you know, it would be the same thing if Russia sent agents into Texas and said, "Hey, you Texans, you guys ought to secede, go back to being a republic." And I want to tell you something.
So that's what happened.
That would fall on very, very attentive ears down here. Okay?
That's
and so then you get that stirred up, and then they got a fight going in Ukraine, and then all of a sudden our propaganda machine says, well, it's all Russia. Russia invaded the Ukraine. What do you mean they invaded Ukraine? Ukraine's been part of Russia for 100 years, you know, and so then now all of a sudden they're the bad guys for trying to hang on to their own territory. But see, we never get told the truth. We just get the spin, and we get the propaganda and stuff, and you have to really dig to find out where the truth lies. But hey, you can listen to Jimmy, listen to me. Don't believe it, but then go check it out for yourself. And if you go and check it out and find out what we're telling you is true, then at that point, see, it's not a question of belief. It's a question of knowledge. You know what the truth is. But most people don't, because they watch TV and they watch the major media, and they've been tooled all around.
Now, here we are. After another election, and now the question is reared its ugly head again about the popular vote versus the electoral system. And here we are again, and we're right there. What's your opinion?
Well, it's really kind of funny because the electoral college system was created to prevent a minority from, you know, lording over a majority, you know, but in the way it's continued to grow and evolve, it almost is that's what it's doing now, almost. You know, this time it got so close. If it was the popular vote, I think Trump would have got it hands down. But, you know, looked like it was going to be close in the electoral college until the very end, when he just pulled in. Hey, when he got Florida and Pennsylvania, it's like, oh, okay, whoa. You know, that was just incredible. All those pundits on TV were just falling out of their chairs. And so, you know, this time it kind of worked, but I think we need something different. But unfortunately, I think what they would come up with is in-house voting. You know, right now you can order movies off your TV, or most people can, and that's the thing slowing it down, because not everybody has a TV that's two-way, but they're getting there. And before long, probably, you know, a healthy percentage of the people will have the two-way TV, and they're going to go, okay, we're all just going to vote at home. You cast your vote, and then, of course, then that's going to really open it up to voter fraud, because, you know, once it's electronic and digital, then anybody can do anything to it. So that worries me a lot. Frankly, I think the only way we will ever get back to a true democracy, representative democracy in this country, is to return to paper ballots that can be physical, and you can go back, you can recount them, okay, and go back to poll watchers. Most people under 50 don't even know what a poll watcher is, you know, because who wants to sit there and stare at machines all day?
Right.
But you know, if we go back to paper ballots and poll watchers, we would have a great, better chance at a totally true, honest, and free election.
Now, we have this first 100 days, I think, are critical, and you're absolutely right. We need to watch about actions. Trump has made a lot of, fairly unreachable promises. We've got the situation with the south of the border, Mexico. We've got the wall that he wants to build. We have this immigration policy. We have what's going on in Syria, and he wants to go and, carpet bomb and ignore his generals. All of these, called the military idiots. And so, all of these crazy things. But there is somebody that there is an agenda that's already in play before he gets into office. That's already there. He's got to confront that, and that agenda is going to be there when he leaves too, as well. How are these first 100 days going to play out with the shadow government and these other crazy promises and platforms that he put on the table?
Well, I think it's going to boil down to what kind of plans and how effective they're going to be by the New World Order, by the globalists, okay? I'm thinking and hoping that within our own Congress they will finally realize that the winds have shifted and that the vast amount of Americans are totally sick and tired with a left-leaning socialist government that spends more and more and more money that we don't have and soaks the people who are paying the taxes more and more and more and more. There are ways of doing things. The wall down on the southern border, that sounds a little bit outrageous, but you know what? There's already one down there in most places. There's places, I know I've been along in El Paso and down for miles south of there. There's a huge wall, okay? But the problem is there's gaps all in it. And another thing is that you hear about the Rio Grande River. Well, let me tell you about the Rio Grande, and many times of the year you just walk across it, okay? It's not, at certain places it's swift flowing and it's a pretty good river, but there's other places where, it's only a 1 foot deep or so, And so we need to, the key thing, and this is again where they propagandized on Trump. In fact, I heard Rachel Maddow last night. She, since she couldn't talk anything good about Clinton because she was going down, she started blasting Trump about saying he wanted to throw all the Muslims out of this country. I've never heard him say that. Did you ever hear him say that? What he's talking about is taking criminals, people who have been convicted of crimes who happen to be Muslims, and people who are known jihadists, and vetting them, and if it turns out that they are a problem, we toss them out, just like we would any felon. Okay, I don't think an honest, devout Muslim who is not advocating jihad, has any worries. Nobody's going to come grab them and force them out of the country. If you're here legally. And I don't care what race, color, religion you are. That's okay. You're an American. That's all right, no problem. And I never heard him say anything about just grabbing, people because of race or religion or whatever. He was talking about convicted criminals. They get these people coming across the southern border from, say, Somalia, and they get caught for stealing, and they get sent back, and then they're right back. And then sometimes they don't even send them out of the country. That's wrong. You come here, you're illegal, and you commit a crime, you're gone. It's that simple. And I don't see how anybody could argue with that. Well, now, if you want to be an American, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are. If you want to come over here and go through the process, learn English, take the test, become an American citizen, I say good for you, okay? It shows you got some smarts. All right, so it's real simple, and yet, see, all that got twisted around to the point to where last night she was saying he wants to throw all the Muslims out of the country. He never said that. And
well,
I'm
what
sure
do we?
He doesn't mean that.
Yeah, what is he going to do when he goes up against situations like Monsanto, GMOs, population control? Big pharma, vaccinations, Africa, all of these things, South America, we have all of these crazy situations here that I'm not so sure that hotels and golf courses are enough experienced to deal with all of those things that you write about. You know how complex and crazy these situations are, and they run deep. These are crazy conspiracies against us, the people. Is he there to fight all of that?
That's true. That is true, and that is a legitimate concern, okay? But I will say this, Hillary Clinton was no more prepared to do anything about that than Trump, okay? In fact, she was in bed with Monsanto. She wouldn't have done anything.
Right.
Now,
but we have to...
Again, back to Trump.
Right.
The problem is we have to worry about who he surrounds himself with, okay? And there are some problems there already, like Pence, Giuliani, for God's sakes, some of these other folks, but if he could get the straight of the thing and understand what the real problem is, for example, with the herbicide of Roundup from Monsanto, which is on all our major food crops, contains the major ingredient is glyphosate. And it's been proven that glyphosate is a carcinogen, and that there is a corresponding rise in the use of glyphosate with the incidence of autism. Okay, now if he could be more aware of that, now you say, what is he going to do about it? Okay, he cannot force Monsanto to do anything, but he can use the bully pulpit. He can go on the air and he can tell people the truth, that Monsanto is a killing corporation, and that their GMOs have been banned in many countries, and that they're ever increasingly shown to be bad for our health, and that glyphosate is causing autism. Okay, that's all he's got to do. And one big nationwide program, and there would be a huge public backlash against Monsanto. They would either have to change their products or go out of business.
Well, I think that we're already doing that as a public. We're stopped.
That's already happening, but it could be accelerated by somebody with the position, like Trump as president, to get up and actually talk about it. Obama and Hillary, they would never talk about it because they owed too much to Monsanto. Hell, one of her campaign leaders was a former Monsanto executive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the thing that I'm comfortable in saying is Hillary's exposure to a shadow government and the New World Order comes with the gig that she's been doing for the last 30 or 40 years. She knows what time it is, right? But Trump, on the other hand, I'm not so sure if his eyes are open, if he knows what's going on, or if he is along with Pence and is part of the New World Order too, and this whole thing has been a big setup. I don't know.
We'll find that out within the first 100 days, probably.
And how do you think his constituents and those that voted for him would react if they found out that maybe he's not what he seems, right? And life is that way, Jim. Life is that way. That's what you write about, right? Life is not what it seems.
Well, I'm hoping and that the vast majority of people who voted for Trump, I think they voted despite Trump. I think they realized that he had a lot of problems, a lot of foibles, okay, but that he represented something different than the old establishment in the New World Order. And so I'm almost certain that was the case. In other words, they were voting not so much for Trump, but against Hillary and the New World Order. Okay, I'm hoping those same people will will not just say, okay, we won, and go back to sleep. I hope they will keep their eyes and ears open, their minds open, watch what's going on, and if it turns out that he's just a dark horse for the New World Order, then I hope that they will, start electing people at the midterm that'll oppose him, and then throw him out of office the next election. I mean, that may sound radical, but you know what, Jimmy? That's the way it's supposed to work.
I've got some breaking news that's going on here right now. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, but we have right down the street from the studio here, we've got a protest going on and shots fired at LA Valley College. And look, I'm going to say this now to anybody here in Los Angeles. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, but this is not the way to do things. Everybody loves a good protest, but we don't need shots fired at a community college and a protest. And everybody just relax. And if you're listening to me right now, just stay off the street, stay out of that area. It is just it's a couple of miles away from us. And there you go. I'm going to get some more news and get me. I'll get some updates on this. I can't do this live during the show. I've got Rita working down the hall in her studio, and I will get some more news on this too as well. I've been getting.
Unfortunately, Jimmy, this is something that I was predicting before the election. I said no matter who wins, there's going to be hotheads on both sides that's going to start stuff.
Yeah,
and primarily the Hillary people. Okay, primarily the Hillary people.
Well, we have Bernie too. We have Bernie.
That's another thing. They kept talking about the violence at the Trump rallies, but yet what came out of it and what was done very well and shown by this video that went around is that all of that was inspired by and conducted by the Hillary Clinton people.
Yeah.
I don't know of any instance where, other than self-defense, that there was any violence on the part of the Trump supporters.
Yeah,
let's said people are going. This is going to give them an excuse to get violent. And let's all calm down.
Yeah, look.
We got to see what happens here.
This is, if this is indeed what it's playing out. I don't have enough information right now. This is breaking news here in Los Angeles. I've got the feeds going across, but this is anti-Trump. Stuff that's going. Look, you can't. You're not. It's not like you're going to go and shoot it up at a community college, and Trump is going to say, you know what? You're right. I don't want to be president.
Yeah, really.
It ain't going to change anything.
Well, what I'm seeing here from KTLA is that they went. The cops responded to Los Angeles Valley College because there were reports of shots being fired. They said the shots fired came in. That call came in at 6:55. Said officer says as of 8 p.m. nothing has been found, but the school is on lockdown and there's a heavy police presence. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it doesn't sound like it was too widespread.
Yeah. Okay. Rita just sent me shots fired came in 6:55 p.m., which is 2 hours ago. To descend on the campus. It's right down the street here, man. This is what's really trippy. But the school is on lockdown. There's a heavy police presence. I'm looking at the helicopter shots right now, 18 minutes ago. I just jumped over to KTLA2. Look, and I've heard stuff going on in Seattle. Look, this is a worldwide, this is a nationwide show. We have people that listen to us all across the country. You want to protest, you want to go out with signs, okay, whatever, but do not do anything violent. That's not going to change a thing. It's just not.
Don't
it's
take
not.
your gun to the demonstration.
No, and I really mean that. Okay, so the other concern that I do have with this in this first 100 days, again. We have the markets around the world, and I'm anti-Fed, I'm anti-Rothschild, I'm anti-big bank, I'm all of that stuff. There is that rule by secrecy, by the way, has been going on since the Rothschild started doing their national banks, and that's a big concern. Even though I'm anti all of that, I still have to buy food every day. I still have to go shop for gas. And we have close ties with Mexico. We have Canada. We have Britain. We have the world markets. Is any of this going to get upset? And is that part of the agenda? Do these market swings so they can profit off of it?
Of course. That's, there's an inner line of communication, and this has been going on for centuries. And they get word that, and I'm sure that yesterday early, there were certain individuals who got the word that, hey, Trump's going to take it. And so they did what they had to do to profit from the drop in in the NASDAQ and in the stock exchange.
Yeah.
That just goes on. You know, remember that happened before the Kennedy assassination, the huge short selling. That happened before 9/11, huge short selling. And in the case of 9/11, the mainstream media actually reported on it and said, we're going to track this back and see if this doesn't lead back to Osama bin Laden. And then weeks went by, and all of a sudden you don't hear any more about that. And then they finally somebody asked them, and they're going, well, actually it tracked back to some people connected to the CIA. And then after that, you didn't hear any more. And then the Security and Exchange Commission said, oh, gee, we lost all those files, so never mind about that. It's all a scam.
When we come back, I want to talk about some alien conversation. We'll do that after the break. But what do you think is going on now with world governments and disclosure? Because it seemed like France was right there, Mexico was right there, Argentina was right there, Chile was right there, Brazil was getting close. We had all of the document dump that happened in the UK over the last year. It seemed like there was progress, and then nothing. Everybody has buttoned up. What do you think is going on internationally with disclosure?
Well, they're waiting to see also, but I think the key thing there is that, number one, most of the major nations, except for the infamous axis of evil, which is the Iran, Libya, Iraq, before we invaded. And that was because they were not going along with the New World Order. But most of the major nations in the world are already under tight control by the New World Order, okay? So that's why so many of them were blasting Trump. They didn't want Trump because he was a threat to the establishment, okay? So I think that's what happened there. And now that he suddenly got in, I think that now they're kind of awash. They're not sure what to do, so they're just kind of clamoring down and waiting to get their orders, waiting to see what the New World Order globalists do, and then they'll follow suit. I don't know. It could be good if Trump is smart, and he's already made some very conciliatory remarks towards all the other nations, and as I hope he would. We should go back to Thomas Jefferson's advice, which is be friends to all nations and have no entangling in treaties with any of them. We need to. I've been to Israel. I love Israel. I'm impressed with the people over there. Okay, but hey, we do not need to be spending billions and billions of dollars just to defend Israel.
No, we don't. And I think we got streets here to build. This is Faded Black. Our guest, Jim Mars. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482?
No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, the one and only Jim Mars. He's had a very busy day doing interviews, media requests, but he's hanging out with us tonight. And you must listen. Now, Jim, check this out really quick. A couple updates. LAPD headquarters is evacuating students from LA Valley College, but no confirmation of shots fired or a hostage situation. That scares me. And today in New York, 5,000 people were protesting outside of Trump Tower. And there were protests in Atlanta, Austin, Texas, Boston, Chicago, Denver, Philadelphia, Portland, San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington.
I guess they were afraid their Obama phone was going to give out.
Jim. But yeah. But just as long, I expected this just like you did, but it didn't. Look, trust me, if it would have been the other way around, there would be Trump protesters too as well. It was going to happen either way. They inflamed America so well.
Yeah,
the media, they got us so. I said it yesterday. Our heads were on swivels, man. We didn't know if we were coming or going anymore.
But I tell you what, it was really getting serious down here in Texas because if Hillary had won, okay, I don't think you would have seen all these demonstrations like you just mentioned. I think, but you would see a lot of people that were starting to dig out their ammo and talk with their neighbors and get real serious about it. On that side, they would have been real serious instead of just demonstrating with signs. So maybe it's a really good thing that Trump did win because we can put up with a few more demonstrations.
Well, and now pot's legal too as well. So, maybe that'll
mellow out. That'll mellow them out.
Get some mellow yellow going on. All right, now I want to talk some UFOs with you because you're one of the best. And last year, as you know, at Contact in the Desert, that mass sighting happened. I saw what I saw, and it changed me. It changed me to my fundamental core. Rita as well. We have seen things over the years, independent of that. But when you see it like that, where you have so many, hundreds, if not thousands of people that are standing around you, that felt different. We had people there to back up our story that we were going to go out and talk.
Right. You're not so hesitant to talk about it when you got a few hundred other witnesses.
Not at all. Did you see anything that weekend?
I've seen all kinds of weird things, but it's always just lights in the sky, and I am loath to try to tell somebody what that is. I mean, I've seen some really weird stuff. I was up in Montana, I guess, and one night I saw this.
Wow.
There's the mothership.
What the heck is that? Is that your cell phone?
That's my cell phone.
That's your ringtone.
That's the mothership calling me. They just come back down.
That is too
No,
funny.
but I was in Montana, and I saw what I immediately thought was a satellite, because it was, you've seen them. They'll go horizon, and they just move at a pretty good clip, and they come across the sky. Then it stopped. Hang on, let me...
Okay, now you need to mute it. You get one pass card on that, Jim. That's it. Just one pass card.
I'm on the radio. Bye.
Oh, man.
So obviously a satellite doesn't stop, and it wasn't a meteor, because meteors don't stop either. So yeah, I've seen lots of weird stuff, but Jimmy, I have to say I have not seen anything that I would swear up and down across my heart and say that was a flying saucer full of aliens. I had never seen that.
Yeah, exactly. And
but there's no question in my mind that all that's real. And the reason why is because although I personally have not seen anything that I could just definitely say was a UFO full of aliens, I have talked to scores of military people and pilots, the commercial and military officers, and air traffic controllers, police officers, and I've heard all these stories for so many years that after a while you just go, wait a minute, these people are not, they can't all be crazy, and they can't all be making stuff up. Okay? So, yeah, they're here, they're now.
You missed the show at Contact in the Desert then. What were you doing that night?
Well, I did the night vision goggles.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not sure if we're talking about the same one.
That was Saturday night was the big sighting out there with the night vision goggles with the Melinda Leslie.
Yeah, I did see that stuff moving around, but again, that's lights moving around, and that's impressive, and it certainly does not lend itself to a conventional explanation. But hey, light in the sky, I'm not going to try to tell anybody what that was. Could be a test weapon. Who knows?
Well, that's exactly my point. What I saw out there that night, that green chrome ball that was a couple of miles away, and it took 5 minutes, and this thing went up and to until it was a pinprick. It was a couple of 100 feet around, and then went up into the solar system, stopped, and then it was just a tiny little dot at that point. 5 minutes in a straight line, and then turns left and disappears into the stars. Now, I'm not saying that I know what that was, that it was a UFO. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it was alien. I don't know. But it was certainly some crazy-ass technology that you and I know nothing about, right? That they're not advertising. I mean, I can't explain what I saw. I know what it wasn't, Jim. It wasn't a helicopter. It wasn't a rocket. It wasn't terrestrial. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't any of those things. It was a round chrome ball that took 5 minutes to disappear to a pinprick and then make a left-hand turn and take off and disappear. That was nuts to me. Nuts.
Did I ever tell you about the secret UFO war of the 1950s?
No, I don't think you have.
All right, grab this. In 1952, in the wake of that epidemic of UFO sightings that flew over Washington.
I'm too busy listening to your.
Oh God, that's right. I know what's happening. I'm supposed to be on another program at 11 o'clock. See, I didn't realize we were going 3 hours.
No, we're only an hour and a half in.
Okay,
but we're gonna.
Can we cut this off here in about 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah,
or
of course.
Put you in a bind?
Of course we can. And I'm just more curious about whose show you're going to go on, but don't say it out loud.
No, I don't want to say it. We don't want to talk about that. All right, quickly, let me tell this. This is fascinating. 1952, you had the fly over Washington, where where it was caught on radar, and it was a big deal. The Air Force issued orders to shoot down UFOs. They basically said, if you encounter a UFO, order it to land. If it fails to do so, fire on it. So the fighter pilots went on the hunt for flying saucers. Boy, they thought, all right, here's our chance to get some action. But then all of a sudden, there was a rash of crashes. In one instance over the Atlantic Ocean, at least 10 fighters went down. And in June, July of 52, 94 fighter jets were lost worldwide, with 51 crewmen confirmed killed. Planes were just falling to the ground, 2 and 3 at a time. And then, according to the New York Times article, there were 192 aircraft vanished or crashed during the years 51 up to about 55. And these crashes stopped when the Air Force said, okay, if you see a UFO, don't shoot at it, okay? They rescinded the shoot-down orders, and all the crashes stopped. Isn't that interesting?
It's not coincidence.
I don't think that was a coincidence at all. I call it the secret UFO war.
What's your next book, Jim?
Well, right now I'm calling it The Shadow of the Illuminati.
How
believe
far?
me, you read this one, it will really put it together for you.
How far along are you?
It's already in, but the publishing wheels turn slowly. I don't think it's going to be out until late spring or next year. It's amazing. Don't ask me why. As long as I live, I'll never understand the publishing business.
No, me neither. Or the television industry.
Or the radio industry.
Or radio.
All right, well, look, I think I'm going to have to bid you farewell because I think I need to go catch up with this other poor guy.
Yeah, you go do that.
Where's my guest?
You've had a very busy day doing media requests. I want to thank you right now for taking the time to hang out with us tonight, and go do what you do best. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you, Jimmy, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, we will. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Jim Mars, everybody. Thank you for that. And I want to say this really quick after this conversation to everybody, which is very simple. Oh, you can go to jimmars.com. All of his books are there, too, as well. Just go to jimmars.com. It's a great website. Is this, and I really mean this, and I said this before the election, and I need to say this now. No matter what, I went into this entire thing over the last year not endorsing and not supporting either. They both disturbed me to my core. But as Americans, what we need to do now that it is over, is we just need to unite, and we need to support whoever goes into office. And in this case, it's Donald Trump. And as nutty as that sounds, it feels like a Warner Brothers cartoon in real life. But that's what we need to do. That's it. We've got to judge him by his actions. History's going to play itself out, and things are going to move forward. What's not going to happen is the world's not going to come to an end. You're still going to have your life and your family and your friends around you, and you need to move forward. The break that we took on life that the media was forcing us to take over this last year, totally distracted, totally taken off our game. And that reality now is back in front of us. Life moves on. And I really mean that. Looking at today, when I did that post on Facebook and I got things off my chest, looking at that, I would say a vast majority of comments were positive. A few were not, and were removed, because I just don't need to read that. I don't need to be distracted with that. The emails that have been coming in, not only during the show, but all day today. The negative stuff, I looked at it just got deleted, and I don't need to be distracted anymore. I am as tired as you are. I am completely exhausted. There was a point, and I want to share this with you before I move on. A few years ago, when I went through that whole Sandusky nightmare back in 2000, whenever that was, 2009, 2010, and I went through that. After that disclosure and the way that story broke, and I was stuck in the middle of it. I was forced into about 6 weeks of reporting and disclosures, and I was getting emails and I was getting things from people, and I got sucked into it, and it mentally beat me down. And then one day I woke up and I said to my producers, Hilton and Charlie, and I said I'm done. I cannot do this darkness anymore. I just can't do it. It's not fun. It's not who I am. I just look at life so differently than what I'm being forced into. And that's what happened to all of us over the last year. We were forced into a darkness and forced into taking sides and watching social media and watching Twitter and watching Facebook and YouTube and the comments and the emails all over the place with people that were unfriending and not liking and name call and just craziness that would have never ever happened with people that I know that are friends and people that I respect too as well. And I had to stop and just go, look, I'm not going to let my emotions get involved with friendships. The crazy conversations that are going on over at our house over dinner, where it was borderline getting out of control. And I know that everybody sitting at this table, at this conversation, are the best of friends. And suddenly, this darkness, this cloud, was hanging over our heads. I am done with it. I am done. We have done 3 straight days of election coverage. Why? It had to be said. It had to be covered. This is important stuff. This is history-making things that are going down. But I will always deal with the conspiracy side of things. I'm not going to get sucked into what has been going on out there. And I'm asking all of you to do the same things. All right? Do as I do. Don't let the baggage pull you down. Don't let the negativity pull you down. Don't let yourself get sucked into it. Look at your friends and your neighbors and the people that are around you and just realize that, you know what, ultimately, in the end, it's us that matters. And we have to be as one. We cannot be divided. We cannot. And I'm talking about your children are probably choosing sides here and looking at you funny. And you need to set an example, not only with your friends and family, but your coworkers and the people that you sleep with every night. That's what is most important. We need to move forward. It is there. It's in front of us. We go through this every 4 years, every 8 years. We go through this, and somehow, in the end, we work things out and we move forward. Right? This time around, it feels different because it is different. It is. And changes are happening right in front of us right now. I don't know how we got to this point, but it was inevitable that we were going to arrive here. Things were going in the wrong direction for a long time, for decades. Okay, and it was going to boil over and blow up at some point, and we're right here. So now, let's all take a deep breath. The darkness is behind us. It is truly behind us. That was yesterday's news. Okay, now we need to move forward. So all of us, again, just understand the sun will be up tomorrow. It's going to be up the next day. The apocalypse is not around the corner. There is no crazy wars going to break. None of that's going to happen. It ain't going to happen. And I'm not going to tolerate it. All right? So with that, I've got some crazy news for you. A woman was arrested by Minnesota police, and she pulled off this incredible escape by slipping out of her handcuffs, Houdini style, squeezing through the window, that sliding window between the front seat and the back seat of the squad car, probably because she was a meth head. She was really skinny. But anyway, squeezed through the window and stole the cop car and fled the crime scene. Her name? Jennifer Hillard. She is suspected of starting a small fire at her apartment in Alexandria in Minnesota this past Sunday while in possession of drug paraphernalia. Yeah, started a fire. And the 35-year-old is reported to have been caught hiding, I've seen the video, from police in the apartment's ceiling space. Again, high, just high. She was able to manipulate her tiny, skinny little frame out of the police handcuffs, right? They probably just weren't able to close small enough around her hands because she's really skinny. And all of this is on videotape. And so you watch her get out of the handcuff. Her hands are cuffed behind her. She gets out of the handcuffs. The squad car is locked from the outside. The cops locked the doors, but left the keys in the ignition. Why did they leave the keys in the ignition? Because the radios needed to be left on, right? So she, all on videotape, squeezes through and then takes off on a police chase. 30 minutes. She gets the car started, takes off. The police are standing there. Watch her do this. She takes off 129 miles per hour through the town of Alexandria. But then, ultimately, she was arrested when the chase ended because the squad car blew out 2 tires. And that was the only damage that was done. She was unhurt, taken away, and arrested. You need to see the video. I think we have it posted over at jimmychurchradio.com. Also, before I head to the break, software robots generated a significant number of Twitter messages in the support of Donald Trump, distorting the Republican presidential nominee's backing on social networks. Now, listen to this. Now that we know that he was elected, check this out. The study by the University of Southern California computer scientists found that both Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton, by the way, had supporting messages from bots, but that Trump had more. A lot more. And Trump produced a lot more tweets. The fact that the bots produce systematically more positive content in support of a candidate can bias a perception of individuals. We get that. Anybody that's exposed to it, I understand that too as well. And suggesting that there exists an organic grassroots support for a given candidate, I also understand that. While in reality, it's all artificially generated. The researchers analyzed 20 million tweets generated between September 16th and October 21st. And this was from 2.8 million distinct users. And an estimated, out of that 2.8 million, over 400,000 accounts were Trump bots. The bots represented nearly 15% of the accounts while generating 3.8 million tweets, nearly 19% of the total conversation from Trump's 12 million Twitter followers. Trump's robots produced tweets were almost uniformly positive, while only half of Clinton's were, which was strange, with the other half criticizing the nominee. Using automatically generated tweets and messages can distort those trending topics on Twitter and give Trump and his supporters the ability to claim, for example, that he won the presidential debates. And I get all of that stuff too as well, but this was the data collected. A similar study released last month by researchers from Oxford University, the University of Washington, and Corvinus University of Budapest reached similar conclusions, finding that pro-Trump bots outproduced pro-Clinton accounts by 7-1. And there you go. And, all of this coming out after the election is pretty interesting when we find out about how off the polls were, right? And how off all of the data was. And then we find out this stuff on the pro-Trump side, but it was bot-driven. And I find that very, very, very interesting. All right. Let's see here. Working about 28 miles from ISIS-controlled territory in Iraq, researchers have discovered, and this is one of the coolest stories that I may report this year. And just listen to this. It's 28 miles from ISIS-controlled territory in Iraq. Researchers have discovered evidence of a large Bronze Age city. It dates back approximately to 3000 BC. Located near the town of Dohuk, Iraq, the city thrived for over a millennium, over 1,000 years. It had defensive walls around it dating back to 2700 BC, and also featured roads, residential areas, and a cemetery outside of the city. We're talking 3000 BC. The excavation is at a Kurdish village called Basatki. Now, how crazy is this? I'm getting ready to, I've got some photographs right now. I've got some aerial stuff too. It is large. It is huge. It is Bronze Age, and it is 5,000 years old, 3000 BC. Correlates to a lot of other crazy times in Mesopotamia, ancient Sumer. This is Iraq. This is old, and this is a brand new discovery. This is potentially a game changer. The one thing that I need to emphasize here, it's the size. This is a city. This isn't a village. This isn't a couple of houses. This is a city with a defensive wall around it, dating back 5,000 years. It's a crazy, crazy discovery, and more on this as I get all of this data collected. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Going to take a little break, and when I come back, I'm going to open up the phone lines, 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. This is Fade to Black. I'll be right back.
Here, and you are listening to my boy Jimmy Church on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hard shell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. If you're on the hold, just stay right there. I'll get to you. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Jim Mars. Fascinating conversation as always. And right now here in Los Angeles, thousands of people are protesting the election of Donald Trump. The protest started at around 7:30 p.m. earlier this evening. It looks like it was organized on Facebook. I'm looking at shots right now above the protest from a helicopter. And they are saying now that it is disorganized and there was no specific start and end point. The crowd is in large numbers on Main Street approaching Temple. That is hardcore downtown, by the way. And there's also another separate large crowd in front of City Hall. Los Angeles police are down there, of course, monitoring everything. They burned an effigy of Donald Trump, but put that out quickly. And up to this point, no violence has been reported right here in Los Angeles. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Hi, this is DJ from Kansas City. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, DJ from Kansas City. Any protest in your town?
I was going to comment on that, Jimmy. No, we're pretty mellow out here and civilized, unlike where you're at. But, yeah, nothing...
Nothing yet to report. Okay. Well, there's still tomorrow. What's going on, DJ? Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I said, what's going on, DJ?
I just had a quick comment for you, and I'm going to tell you a little quick story. Then what I wanted is call in tomorrow on Open Lines. Back in 1969, when I was 11, I met a time traveler.
Really?
And yeah, and we exchanged currency because he needed $1 from my year, so he gave me $1 from his year.
Shut up!
And
What?
Serious,
Okay.
I'm serious. I have a Federal Reserve note from the year 2020.
Shut up! Okay, scan it. Send me the page. Send it to me. Send it to me.
It's buried. It's back in my hometown, but I know where it is. But
really,
yeah.
Well, let me help you. I mean, you know, I'm the guy, right? I'll take that right on to my new TV show, man. Let's break this sucker wide open. Okay,
cool.
Let's okay. So, DJ, let's back up a couple of steps here. So you're saying in 1969, you meet a guy, he needs some of your currency, you're 11 years old, and you exchange. Did he tell you he was a time traveler?
Yeah, but not right at first, because what I was doing, I had a Stingray bike. I'm sure you had one,
Of course, absolutely.
Bars, everything.
Mine was gold.
Okay, mine was lime green. But
no,
anyway,
those were cooler. I always wanted the lime green.
Exactly.
But okay.
I used to. This was in May of '69, and I was getting ready to unlock my bike. They had a bicycle rack in front of us. They had a swimming pool on the north side. It was in Cody Park. And I got done swimming, I was getting ready to leave, so I was unlocking my bike from the bike rack. And then, Jimmy, I ain't kidding you, this guy just appeared out of nowhere. I mean, he was like a foot away from me when he appeared.
Oh, that's creepy. What was he dressed
like?
like?
Yeah, it was. And I kind of jumped back, and, I was kind of like shocked, and, I kind of like, who are you, mister?
What was he dressed like, DJ? What was he dressed like? Do you remember?
Yeah. His clothes were different than what I was wearing. I mean, I had like jeans and a t-shirt on, but his was more kind of like what it is like now, 2016, 2017, kind of like what people wear now.
Right.
Sunglasses. He had a big, and then one thing he told me, and I've never forgot about this. He told me, he says, you're going to watch something in 2 months that's going to, seem real at the time. But he said, years later, you're going to realize that it wasn't.
Oh, is he talking about the Apollo moon landings or something?
Exactly.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you're 11. Were you into... and I have to ask these questions. Don't take them the wrong way. Were you into science fiction? Did you, did you have fantastic... imagination with this kind of stuff? Where was your mindset when this first, what were you thinking?
I just, wanted to know, why he was there, in this particular timeline, where he wanted to go, what he wanted to do. And, I was really into that because, I read comic books. I built models. My dad had all these science fiction stuff. I mean, he had all the, in fact, that's when the Eric von Daniken book came out, Chariot of the Gods, and he had a paperback copy of that. And it was in '69 when I read it, I think. But
well, see, and that's why I'm asking. That's what's important here. You were able to take get a grasp of what was actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you get you guys trade this money. Did it? Okay, it was a dollar bill, right?
Yes.
Now, was he this is nuts. So he was from he's from the now. Rolf, he's from 4 years from now. So I'm assuming we're still going to have dollar bills in 2020.
Yeah.
And the dollar bills from 1969 look the same as they do today. I don't think there's too many changes, or if any at all. Everything else has changed.
They don't have that strip in there like what, like if you go to an airport and you got like $30,000 in your bag, it's going to set off alarms. They didn't have that little strip.
Do they put strips in the dollar bills now? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know they do it in 5s and 10s and 20s, but dollar bills, that strip is in the new ones?
Probably not, but
right. Okay, well, but does yours have your 2020, did that have a strip in it? That's interesting.
I wouldn't have known then. So.
Okay. But the dollar bill itself, so now you're 11. You know how to look for the date on a dollar bill when you're 11. All of us did when we were kids, right? So you looked at the date, and that sucker said 2020.
Yes.
Wow. And it was real.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happened?
He needed a 1969 dollar. And see, I had a paper out at the time, so I mean, I wasn't rich, but I mean, I had like $4 or $5 bills, and he just wanted one, so I go,
easy enough. Yeah, totally.
And he gave me one of his. And
so what happened next, DJ?
He wanted to go North Platte, Nebraska is where I was, and it's the home of the world's largest rail classification yard, Bailey Yards in Union Pacific. He wanted to go to Bailey Yard. There was some boxcar that he was interested in. So, and see, my dad was an engineer for Union Pacific. I mean, I knew where it was. So, we had a viaduct and went over the tracks, and I said, just follow me. And I was riding my bike, and I said, there it is. I said, there's the downtown plant, and I said, the rest of that, when you head west, it's a whole big yard over there. Because see, I used to go out to the roundhouse with my dad when I was a kid. They had a turntable in there. It was in the old part of the yard, and they would turn the locomotives in there. Figure out which way they needed to go, which direction, and so basically, I knew my way around through there. But
yeah, I need you to speak up a little bit, DJ. Speak up a little bit. You're getting a little quiet. You're getting a little quiet. Okay, so, did you guys separate right there? Did he went on his way? Did you watch?
He was looking for some boxcar. I guess he had a number, and it was supposed to be in that yard in that particular day. I don't know what was. He never told me, but he was looking for some kind of boxcar in Bailey Yard in that particular time frame.
Wow, that's totally strange. Was he? Let me ask you, what did he smell like? Was he clean? Were his clothes clean? His hair?
Yeah, he was probably 25 or 26. He wasn't well dressed. I mean, he had like a kind of like a Hawaiian print shirt, some kind of. They weren't blue. They were like white pants, kind of like cargo pants.
Wow.
Maybe hemp pants. I don't know, but.
Right. Did the fashion? 1969 was a crazy year for fashion, right?
Yeah.
You had all the fringe. You had bell bottoms, leather jackets.
I had bell bottoms.
Yeah, we all did, man. If you were cool, you had bell bottoms. Patch pockets. You remember those? You remember those patch pocket pants and that whole style. And he was not dressed like that style, which was all over the United States, if not the world, right? So he didn't fit that mold.
Yeah, like if I was standing next to him, Jimmy. I mean, I'm 11. I'm probably 5'6". And he was probably 6'2". But if you looked at it, to what I was wearing and how he was clothed, he stood out like a sore thumb because he didn't fit in.
Did he scare you? I mean,
No.
you're 11.
Well,
you're 11.
He did at first, but then once I started talking to him, he was real, friendly. Asked some questions, and and then he told me, he goes, you need to listen to Rush.
Rush.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay. I graduated.
What?
I graduated in '76, but it was like '74 when I listened to my first Rush album.
Yeah, the
Rush
one. Yeah, the pink logo with.
Yeah, exactly. It had Working Man on it. And
the original.
Way,
what was that first drummer? The first drummer before Neil Peart.
I don't think that's what he meant, though, Jimmy. I think he meant listen to Rush Limbaugh. But he didn't say, he just said listen to Rush.
Wow.
And see, I can remember listening to all those Rush albums, But see, I seen Rush in '76. I seen them in Lincoln, Nebraska. I seen the Caress of Steel tour. And then the last two songs they played for the encore was off the new album 2112.
Right.
So I was kind of going, man, I've listened to all these Rush albums, I'm not getting anything. And then, years later when Rush Limbaugh started, started talking about his stuff, but I think that's what he was talking about.
Wow. Now, did he say that he was, he had the 2020 bill, right? But did he say that he was from 2020? And did he tell you who he worked for? I mean, what was he doing? Was he on vacation or was he working for the government?
I think he was just on some mission. That's what I got. I really didn't think that he was like military because he didn't act like it.
Right.
I think he was more that came back, 35, 45 years.
Yeah, I was just
boxcar.
I was just doing the math on that. So 69, 70, 10,
40,
20,
47.
Yeah, almost 50 years now. That's a crazy. So now I know how old you are. So that's a pretty.
I just had my 40-year class reunion in July. So
I know it's scared. Don't even say that. I'm just a couple of years behind you, so don't say that.
I know.
And
hey, I love you guys' show, and I mean you and Rita and everybody and all the Fadernauts. I mean it's just I was going to say you don't have to deal with the negativity, Jimmy, because your show is just so awesome. There shouldn't be anybody complaining about what you guys do.
It's so funny, man. You would think that, right? You would absolutely think that, but the show, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, now it's different when you're speaking to, say, 1,000 people, right? You can find 1,000 like minds, but as it gets bigger and other strangers come in that have never listened to the show, you're going to start to not appeal to everyone. And as it gets bigger, man, it's getting like 50-50 now. It's like half the audience.
I wanted to call in last night when you had Saggio on. His time travel stuff and all the stuff that he's done. And
well, have you seen this guy?
I talked to him. I personally talked to Andy on Facebook. We're like, well, I'm not saying we're close, but
right.
I belong to his Andy 2016 presidential group. It's a Facebook page, and then I would actually private message him, and we would talk.
Well, have you
every
seen?
Every time he was on like your show or Coast, I'd always say, hey, Jimmy, when Andy's on there, whether it's your show or Coast, his voice, he doesn't stutter. He doesn't, go,
yeah, like me.
Everything
right.
Yeah, it's not scripted or anything, but to me personally, you can hear the truthfulness in his voice.
Yeah, you can. You can. DJ, let me ask you. We're going to hit the end of the show here. I want to ask you a couple of more questions. Did you ever see him again?
No.
You know where this dollar bill is? You can unbury it. You can get it out of the ground.
Yeah.
And will you do that for me?
Next time I go back to North Platte, I will.
Well, how difficult is that? Is this your, this piece of property? You don't have to disclose, of course, but you know exactly where this is at.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been back there since? A building hasn't been built on top of it or something crazy?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we need to do this. The questions that I would have here. So 2020. So that would mean either, because he was in civilian clothes, and I find that very, very, very interesting. So he needs to blend in, right? You got to blend, right?
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
blend. So he's not in any type of military garb. He didn't have a weapon, right?
He could have been military, Jimmy, but like you say, ditch the military gear and put on these street clothes and blend in.
Of course. So, but the 2020 thing is interesting. So did he leave the year 2100, right, with the wrong money, shows up in 1969, now he's got a 2020 bill that he can't spend, right? And he needs a $1969 for whatever reason. Maybe he needs to go back to where he came from with the $1969 for another reason. Don't know. The 2020 year is an interesting year. Does that mean that time travel was successful in 2020 and not back in the 1980s or not back in the 1960s, or the Germans didn't pull this off or whatever? Or we don't know. Or is it just that this guy is just one of many, and the 2020 date isn't anything special here, right? It just happens to be he had a $2020 on him. all of these questions need to be answered. I think it's an amazing experience that you went through.
It is. Maybe, he could have been from 2260, and maybe he stopped in the year 2020, and grabbed some money somewhere, and then he hops back, to 69,
Did you have the opportunity to freely converse with him? Did you ask him about the future? Did you ask him what he was doing or where he was from?
Yeah, I asked him a couple of questions, and he did answer them. But
oh, what'd you ask him, DJ?
I just asked him about, when he was telling me you're going to watch something, and then what was weird, Jimmy, was it was like he knew. He said in about 30 years or 35 years, he says, you're going to have a thing called the computer, and he says, you're not going to have to, look up stuff in books and libraries anymore. So he was talking about the internet. But see, I didn't know what it was.
Interesting.
He was describing it to me, what the internet was, but I just had no, but I do remember that. Though.
When you went up to the bike rack with your bike, how much open area was around you? I mean, was it that he just appeared next to you? He didn't walk up? Is that what you're suggesting?
No.
You think
like,
that
in the old Lost in Space television show, the old, when it was in black and white, when those things would just pop up, in front of Dr. Smith or the robot or, whoever.
Right.
It was kind of like that. I mean, it was just like instantaneously. This guy was just appeared out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, here he is. I mean, I jumped back and I go, because I was just, in amazement,
Well, we've got to get to this 2020 bill before 2020, because at 2020 it doesn't matter, right? We got to get to the 2020 bill now. It's 2016. It's going to be 2017 here soon. We've got to get to that 2020 bill. We have to.
What I should have done when I went back for my class reunion in July. I was there for 2 days. What I should have done was went over there and dug it up, but I wasn't even thinking.
Right. Well, now we have a mission, and I don't know. You don't have to say the city out loud. I don't need any of that. But how far away are you from that? I mean, is this a plane trip? Is it?
I guess if you replay this, I told you where it was.
Yeah, I know, but I'm ignoring it right now.
I probably gave you two.
So, but
I'm probably going to get visited by some 3-letter agency tomorrow, and they're going to want to know where this bill.
Yeah, I expect the email to come in too. Well, is it a couple hours drive? Is it far from you, or is this a plane trip?
6-7 hour drive.
Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's a couple of Red Bulls and a bag of Fritos.
No doubt.
And a half a pack of smokes, and you will be there. We need to pull this off. And see, this is the thing. I can assure you, fairness. I can assure you that we'll fully check it out. I have the right laboratories and the things at my disposal to do a full examination of the bill to ensure its authenticity, and that millions of people will see this. I can do all of that. It would be a lot of fun just to be part of. And we've been covering on this new season. There's a little bit of time travel there, but we're going to do a full time travel thing very shortly here too as well. And it would be wonderful to have you part of it, DJ. Just think about that.
Yeah,
we need to pull the.
I'm a big fan of the show, and I mean, you've had different guests. I'm kind of skeptical of that. I think he's the second. Is it Titor or Titor? How do they pronounce it?
Oh, the guy that calls himself Titor? Yeah.
Well,
whatever.
yeah, it's like John Titor too.
Yeah,
I think some guy recently wrote a book about him.
Yeah, Bob Mitchell, and he just passed away. Yeah, Bob Mitchell.
Yeah, he just passed away. And then you had that other guy that helped write the book.
Jason Quitt. He did. He organized the book. I don't think he wrote anything in it, but. out of respect to Bob Mitchell, because he's a friend and he has since passed away. Out of respect to Bob, I'm not going to make any comments on John Titor too.
Yeah, I hear you.
But
But
that
the first Titor, you know, that actually, I think he faxed Art Bell back in
99, 98, 99.
Now this guy was interesting. To see he had some kind of motive. I think he went back, about the same timeline, maybe a few years earlier, to get that IBM, kind of IBM computer.
Yeah, and that's a fascinating story that just it won't go away.
And see, I remember when you had a show on that, Jimmy.
I've done a few.
You remember, because you said you used to do this. You remember that picture? You know, he's got it. I know he drove a Corvette, and then he's got the picture of his time machine, and it's like a schematic, and it's all broke down. You know, it's like
it's a cutaway. It's a cutaway drawing. Yeah,
cutaway. And I can remember you commenting on that. And you said, you know, hey, if this is a hoax, you know, somebody went to a lot of trouble, you know, to draw this drawing and, you know, take pictures of these. I don't think it was. I think he was legit. I think, you know, with all the stuff that he had and, you know, what he's shown everybody. I mean, some of it's, if you go to that website, you know, there was a lot of predictions, you know, about the mad cow disease and the Olympics and, you know, all that other, you know, junk. But,
yeah, and it's a story that is very, very, very complex and very, very hard to fabricate. But DJ, you've got my email. Go ahead and reach out to me, and then we'll get things going on this. And I would like to you know, take this public, and I'm just the guy to do it. All right, thank you so much. I'm at the end of the show, man. I got to roll credits.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll be talking with you.
Thank you, DJ. Great conversation. Great call. Thank you so much.
You. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye.
There you go. That's an interest. 2020 got a dollar bill buried. I got to see this. Rita, there's a road trip in our future. Really quick, I've got to get this in. I've got a couple of other things, but I'm going to squeeze this one in. China just passed a controversial cybersecurity bill this past Monday, tightening restrictions on online freedom of speech while imposing new rules on online services to providers, raising concerns that Beijing is further cloistering its heavily controlled internet. The ruling Communist Party oversees vast censorship, and now you cannot. They have aggressively blocked companies such as Google and Facebook and so forth. But the law, which was approved by the National People's Congress Standing Committee, is largely focused on protecting the country's networks. Now, there is a provision requiring companies to verify a user's identity, effectively making it illegal to go online anonymously. In China, they need to know who you are, where you live, and what you do just to sign on to the net. And that, my friends, is another Fade to Black. Thank you to Jim Mars. Absolutely the very best. Tomorrow night, John Rappaport's going to be here. It is Fader night. Open lines all night long, and Rappaport with his No More Fake newsroom. Got to thank Jim Mars. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark T. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Fadey by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.